But we go beyond just measuring resilience, because again, you'll start to see here when I apply this, is that, let's say you have a numerical figure. So perhaps in the context of Uganda, resilience up in Gulu is 3.2 versus resilience in Kampala is 6.2. What does that tell us, right? It may tell us that perhaps more investments need to flow into areas that are less resilient. But how? What and how, and what are those investments? Is it in healthcare? Is it in education? Is it in infrastructure? So we move beyond just a numerical quantitative measurement. We also start looking at those associations. Get your feedback in terms of, does this accurately, or how can this support you in terms of your policy work? So, separate from the RAN, we use this conceptual model, this theoretical model in terms of resilience measurement in Mali. We were approached by the government of Mali and UNICEF, where they were concerned with all of the issues in Mali, with the conflict in the north, with drought and with famine. What is child resilience? How do they improve child well-being and child health? So again, we started with the context. And you'll see here, based upon the context, we developed a theoretical model. Okay? And this theoretical model kind of notes issues around security and governance. It talks about food security, wealth, and parenting. Again, all of these dimensions of resilience came from the communities as we engage with them. And we started to conceptualize, perhaps, how things fit. What's the role of parenting? What's the role of nutrition? What's the role of the environment? What is the role of government? And ultimately, how does that promote better well-being? And we also conceptualize, perhaps, what's an outcome? Because when we're talking about resilience, we want to stress that all of these dimensions, wealth and health and governance, they represent resilience. Just as what we heard from your presentations this morning, all of those factors around agriculture and infrastructure and ITC, they represent dimensions of resilience. But how do you as policymakers allocate your resources? How much goes into infrastructure versus education? I heard those challenges here again, where the ministries, the various line ministries that you may have, are doing their own thing. They're making their own investments. How do we link all of those investments in a coordinated manner that allows perhaps to leverage those resources to be able to strengthen resilience? So, moving through our model, we developed specific indicators representing each of these dimensions. And we were able to measure resilience in certain communities where we collected the data. So, as you'll see here, right, we had dimensions around child development, where we looked at individual characteristics. We looked at household level indicators. We looked at community resources. So again, it's a systems approach to measuring resilience. We collected data in 3 communities, 1 in the north and 2 in the south. And as I noted, we were able to quantify a measurement. So again, using those indicators and using our critical component analysis, we were able to say, at a high level, when we look at these 3 communities, you can look at this and say, oh, Sikasso, okay, which is in down the south, has a higher resilience score, followed by Gao, followed by Moti. So again, quantitatively, we can support policymakers so that if you look at this, you might allocate perhaps more resources into Mukti.